The way the governor treats the General Assembly, is it getting closer to how the previous governor treated the General Assembly? With your loaves of bread?
Well, we all have, I think, some serious problems we need to deal with, and we're committed to helping where we can.
Was agreeing to borrowing Quinn's only contingency for supporting CME?
Yeah, it seemed to be the main thing.
If you give him borrowing, he'll
yeah, he said he wasn't going to support CME. He talked about some offshore tax policies that he wanted in there. We talked about a broader approach to a tax policy that you should take care of individual groups, and it kept coming back to the restructuring, what we on our side call borrowing.
Did he have concerns with the CME bill, or was it?
It seemed to be more
to get the
quid pro quo. Or a trade?
Quid pro quo.
It was more of a ride when that loaf discussion came up. But I don't. It was. He seems to be very focused on restructuring.
What do you think your chances of this pension package that passed today in the Senate and in the governor's office?
The governor didn't seem all that excited about this bill, nor did he seem very supportive of it. So it's hard to tell. Though I think we've seen that maybe after he reads it, he might have a different approach.
Why was he not excited with this bill? Does he not recognize the problem?
Again, let you talk for him, but let him talk for himself. But he made general statements about that a bill needs to be constitutional.
You seem to be a substitute teacher too.
I'm talking about 512.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He didn't talk. Oh no, he wanted this passed.
Okay.
He wanted this passed.
What is the unfunded liability right now of the pension system in Illinois?
It's $85 billion on the conservative side. Not all of some of the systems are making an assumption they're going to have 8.5% of the money. Some would argue that that's very aggressive and that number could be as high as $100 million or above.
So do you know what the chances of this bill in the Senate are?
I get the impression from listening to the people in the room that this has a very good chance of passing.
Cullerton signaled that.
Yeah, it's my sense. I don't want to speak for John either. But and the governor had it on his list of things to talk about, wants it to happen.
You're talking about today's bill, right?
Okay. I'm sorry.
About today's
I
bill.
just want to make sure we talk about today's bill.
Yeah. Did he also say that he wanted to have something about the IFT situation too?
He didn't talk about that. He used the terms pension abuse.
Now, where do we stand on those two birds from IFT?
We have a member, Rich Morthland, that is filing if he hasn't already filed.
Yeah, I have to double check if you filed it.
He has, the only thing we thought we could perhaps do constitutionally under Rich Morthland's concept is that you would not be able to access this benefit if you haven't purchased your time. And he hasn't purchased his time. There are obviously constitutional restraints here, but there's perhaps a way to get to them if they haven't purchased their time. And we're pretty sure one of them has not purchased their time.
The Senate Republicans say the CME bill cannot pass as is in the House. Do you agree with that perception, and what needs to change for it?
I've said to the Speaker, I've said to Cullerton, I've said to the Governor that, to this one company at a time approach, well, we're very sympathetic to CME, and they make a valid case. But, next month is going to be somebody else, and then next month is going to be somebody else. We'd like to see a broader approach of 4 or 5 things that we don't think are controversial, of finding ways to give some economic growth and development across the board for both small and large companies. And I think Chris and I seem to be in the same page on it.
As far as the budget, is there discussions yet of what to do with his line item reductions and where those are going?
We talked about that. I'm not sure before you came in, I'm sorry, after you came in, no problem. We're going to put the 4 caucuses together and see if we can reallocate some money, keeping under the 33.2 to the tune of anywhere about $250 million, and that would keep their operations going, and it would keep the closures from happening. There was a conversation long term in the next cycle of having a discussion on a statewide basis, not just focused on downstate, of where we can do better with some of these facilities. And that's a discussion that legitimately has to happen, but it can't be. He seems to have picked just downstate communities, which I think is a mistake, and it's the wrong way to approach it.
Why would that be?
Why would he do that? No. Well, blunt with this, I think he's, his goal was to generate support for increased spending and/or his restructuring plan. And I think he thinks he needs to aim at Republicans. They were mainly Republican districts, but that's my theory. But the bottom line is we're moving forward, and we want to see if we can find a way to get through this. And we're willing to work with them.
So in terms of the reallocation, would the idea be to sustain his vetoes that he made to the budget and then move that money
I think
around?
that would be the general framework, which is where we start.